不行，现在就要讲哦。等一下直播了就。So, is that mine? Okay, thank you. Great. 我第二段才先第一段写，不用如果新的可以吗？可以。See, this is not very 不是一个非常好的角度。Okay. All right. Are we ready? Yes. Okay. So I think we begin. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our live broadcast on how to give English presentations. Okay. Today is our fourth session. And actually we are almost finished this week and then next week and then we are done. Okay. So all of you should have been able to watch our previous sessions online on YouTube or on Facebook during the live broadcast. So who has watched the previous 3 weeks? Raise your hand. If you've already watched the previous 3 weeks. No one here? Anyone watching the live broadcast? Have you watched the previous? No one? Alright, okay. Anyone? 有没有看前3周的内容？都没有，是不是？都没有看 ？OK。这是第4周了，在我们的课程里面的第4周了。So, let me ask again. Speak now or hold your silence. Is English okay? 点头，点头，点头。英文可以吗？ English is okay. All right. So we've talked about a lot of things over the past few sessions. We've talked about what public speaking is. Okay, how do you define public speaking? How do you become? How can you become a good public speaker? Okay, and in general, my advice to all of you is to remember that public speaking is about communication. It is about, passing on messages to whoever is in the room or whoever is watching your broadcast. But the important thing is that your message goes across. Okay? That is the most important thing. If you fail to do it, for instance, if my English goes out and then no one understands, that's not a good form of communication. 沟通就无效，可以吗？好，所以最重要的事情是要问自己，随时要问自己。在我简报或是在我公开讲话、公开演讲的过程当中，讯息有没有传出去？有没有收到我的讯息？这是第一个大原则。在没有的情况之下，你宁愿改变方法，你宁愿改变做法，也不要觉得硬的一直讲一直讲。That's not a good way to deal with it. That's the first big principle. The second big principle is that find a model. You find someone that you admire very much and follow their example. Okay? It's not enough for me to tell you the principles. That's not enough. You need to find someone to model yourself after. Okay? That's very important because everybody has different public speaking goals. Okay? Everyone has different goals. So find a model and follow it. Okay? The third thing that I would say is to practice effectively. Practice often. Okay? Practice and practice and practice. Okay? And how do you do that? How do you practice? Well, you find someone to do it for you, to help you. Find someone to give you feedback. Record yourself. Use a mirror. And we talked about rehearsing techniques last week. 2 weeks ago, we talked about how to build a presentation. Okay? How do you create a presentation from scratch? And the most important principle that I want to lay out to you all is the fact that presentations are like writing. Okay? Presentations are writing. Approach a presentation as you would approach an essay, a long paper, or an essay. If it's a short presentation, approach it as a shorter assignment. If it is a long presentation, approach it as a long assignment. If it is a group presentation, approach it as a group writing project. Okay? Presentations are writing, and the process of creating writing is the same as the process for creating presentations. You brainstorm, you cluster your ideas together, you outline, you draft, and then you edit. You edit and edit and edit. Okay? And when I talk about drafting, a very big principle you have to remember is you have to practice giving the presentation as you are creating the visual aids. Your PowerPoints are not your presentation. Okay? Your PowerPoint slides are not your presentation. I'll say it again. 很多同学在做简报的时候，最常犯的错是：我明天要简报，我把 PPT 做完。你在图书馆里面，对不对？非常安静的，只有你跟你的电脑，把它做完，好，我简报做完了，我报告做完了，明天可以报了。你没有练过一次，等于你没有做简报的练习，可以吗？这是非常重要的事情。边做你的投影片，就要边练习讲。这是我可以给的非常大的原则。太多的同学，想到做简报是想到做 PPT， 对吧？那我说如何做简报，其实是如何做 PPT， 对不对？虽然我们今天要讲的跟 PPT 有关系，跟简报的档案有关系，可是这不是最重要的。Okay, 做简报是指你把它讲出来这个过程，所以把报告练好，把报告做好，准备好简报的意思是你练习过了。那你边练习讲，你就边知道什么东西可以放，什么东西可以不用放，或者什么东西你没有写清楚等等。这是最大的原则，请大家务必要做到，要练习，一定要练习讲一次。OK， 说了没有用，一定要做就是你在明天要报告，你今天一定要讲过一次。你的 PPT 做完，把投影片做完，不等于你的简报做完了，不等于你准备好。记得这件事情。When you are rehearsing, when you are practicing, we talked about how to do this 2 weeks ago. And the important thing to remember, the important thing to think about when you are rehearsing is to visualize, to really visualize your audience. It is best to be there. It's best to get a sense of what the room is like. But one technique, a technique that I've found very useful in my own life, but students don't know about, is externalization. Okay, so 来讲一次。当你在练习的时候呢，很容易紧张嘛，对不对？非常容易紧张。绝大部分的同学在课堂里面报告，有时候就已经很紧张了，对不对？想到未来的公开演讲或者公开讲话，大概第一件你会遇到的事情是口试，就是面试，遇到面试官，就是找工作的时候的面试官。那先不要谈说未来你可能会需要找工作的对不起，在工作的这场域里面。要讲话，要简报，或是要执行会议的报告等等，先不讲这一些，先讲你课堂里面，以及你的就是面试求职面试，it's already very scary, right? It's already very nerve-wracking. And my technique, the best advice I can give you, is to imagine yourself. Okay, you have to visualize and you have to practice this. But visualize yourself sitting in the first seat. So if you are, then I am sitting there, and you sort of imagine yourself looking at yourself. All the criticism you have for yourself, all the bad thoughts that you have, give it to this person. 所有的批评，内在批评外化，听得懂吗？听得懂吗？这个在心理学里面有心理学背景，心理学里面这叫空意法。想象这个位置上，不管他有没有做人，想象它是空的，想象你自己，或是你觉得你最严厉的批评者，坐在最前面的位置，然后把情绪外化 ，let it go. All right, that is the best way to deal with it. Have support in the other chair, visualize that, but above everything else, externalize 就是外化 externalize the emotions that you are feeling. Okay, clear? Is that clear? It's a very useful technique, and practice it often. I still do this when I'm in a very nerve-wracking situation. Yeah, I don't get so nervous now, being in front of students. But when I first started a few years ago, when I first started being in front of students, and when I first started the broadcast, this live broadcast, it's very, very nerve-wracking. I still use this technique to imagine your critics, imagine all the horrible things you say to yourself right in front of you, but outside. And then you can focus on performance. Okay? That is a very helpful technique that I have used. I hope that it helps you in your practice and in your rehearsal. Okay, I've given you the best parts of the past 3 weeks. Okay, are there any questions? Are there any people watching? There are 3 people watching. Okay, thank you, 3 people, wherever you are. Thank you for watching. Thank you, students. 有没有问题？截至目前为止，说的容易嘛，对不对？说的非常容易，做的不容易，其实做起来非常不容易。所以简单的来讲，过去的3周，我们只有5周而已。过去的3周，第1周谈简报、谈演讲的基本的一些应该有的心态，一些想法，一些有的概念，先讲的第1周。第2周谈制作，如何把它练起来，把它做出来，把它练出来的一些过程。第3周谈演练 ，How do you rehearse？ 如何排演，特别是如果是非常大的如何排演。今天我们要讲的是如何制作投影片，然后How do you effectively help your audience? That is week 4. Next week we will talk about how to give and receive feedback. 如果老师问问题，或如果你的面试官给你回应的时候，如何接收，然后如何迅速的处理，然后如何回应。或者是如果你是观众的时候，如何帮助你的讲者，如何给予好的回馈。第5周最后一周，这样。So that's our 5 weeks, and then we're finished. Clear? 有没有问题？没有问题。不了解？现在可以吗？可以吗？了解好。These are our 5 weeks. So today we are talking about visual aids. Today we are talking about how to build visual aids on the screen to help you. Now, who has never opened PowerPoint in their lives? 没有用过 PowerPoint 这个软体的，请举手。有没有人从来没有用过，这辈子还没有用过 PPT 的 ？Good. All right. So everyone's used PowerPoint. Great. How many of you here use a MacBook, an Apple computer? Raise your hand. How many of you use MacBooks? There's normally about 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the rest of you use Windows, right? Use Windows. 大概就这2个大系统，对不对？要不是微软就是ASUS Acer 等等要不然就是苹果，然后这个 Mac OS, right? So of the few of you, and those of you who are watching, if you are a Mac user, I'm a Mac user. So have you ever used the Keynote presentation software? Yes, no. It looks like this. Am I allowed to touch the screen? Boy, can I touch the screen? Yes. Okay. It's this one here. If you've ever used the Keynote presentation software, okay. And so you have. Some of you have. You have not yet. Okay. So there are some general principles. There are some general principles for creating PowerPoint software and slides, PowerPoint slides and presentations. But I have a preference for Keynote. This is my personal preference, and I'll tell you why in a moment. The idea here, let me boil it down. Okay, so in case that we lose ourselves in the creation process, let's boil it down to 5 big principles in PowerPoint slide. 5 big principles. 1 guiding principle. 最大的原则。记起来。最大的原则呢是简报的投影片帮助的不是简报者，是帮助听众。Your visual aids, they're called visual aids, right? They aid the audience. They don't aid the speaker. Clear? That clear? That is the most important thing. 记起来 Your visual aids are not for you. They're not for you to look at. Okay? You can use something else, right? You can look at all kinds of other things. I'll tell you what you can look at. But they are not for you. The slides are for your audience. That is the biggest principle. That is the overlying principle. And therefore, everything that does not help your audience should be left out. Clear? If there's something that your audience does not need, but you need, right? If you need it, but your audience does not need it, leave it out. Okay? That's not important to your audience. Okay? That is the biggest principle. Now, I said there are 5 small principles, right? 5 small principles. I'll tell you what they are. The first one is you are the presentation. You are the 简报是你，不是投影片。Okay? The presentation is the speaker. What you have to say, what you present, those are visual aids. So, biggest principle. So, principle 1 of the 5. Yeah, 1. Your slides are not the presentation. You are the presentation. You have to be able to give your presentation without the slides because the equipment will fail. Sometime in your life, the visual aids will fail. Okay? It's happened to me before, many times. It just doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, you have to deal with it. Okay? You have to be able to give your presentation without the slides. You can use something else, right? You can use something else, that's fine. But you cannot rely on the PowerPoint to deliver your presentation. Okay? So you, all of you here, you, yes you, that's right, you are the presentation. Okay? You are the presentation. 可以吗？你是简报，不是投影片。虽然它是简报档，它是辅助用，辅助谁？辅助你的观众，不是辅助你。Okay, huh? That's the first thing. The second big principle is don't be afraid, don't be scared of leaving things out of the presentation. Now here I will turn my attention to the screen, okay? I'll turn my attention to the screen. And I will show you some important things. This is going to look weird, right? 这个看起来很奇怪，不要跟我讲。反正这个我的脸会很大，是吧？ I don't know. 反正大家注意后。Everyone, look at the screen, not me. Okay? Now we're focusing on the screen. 这就是直播的美丽与哀愁。Okay. 好。So PowerPoint. Now in here, 掌握一个大的原则。 就是首先它必须要能够打开。啊 ，OK，it crashed。好。Okay, all right. Now, I believe there are some common principles. Okay, I prefer using Keynote, but that does not mean you cannot use PowerPoint. Okay, here we are. Now, the first big principle that I want to give you all is when you are choosing a background, right? When you are choosing a template, I am very convinced that you should choose a dark background. Okay, and why is that? If you choose a light background, for instance, like this, it doesn't work. See, the equipment fails. Anyway, if you choose a light background, okay, come on, 点一下。哎，不行。See, the equipment fails. All right, that's okay, because we are in the process of broadcasting. We'll use Keynote then. Okay. So imagine that we are presenting with a white background. Okay. When you are standing in front of the screen, or even if you are off to the side, a white background 比较吸睛. It has more contrast. It's more interesting. It gives more attention than you. Okay? I'm not white, right? I'm Asian. Yeah, but even if you are white, and most of us are not in the room, a white background creates more contrast. It's more, your audience will focus more on the slides. than on you if you have a light background, particularly if the screen is very bright. Okay? However, if you have a dark background, hold on, that doesn't work. See, I'm not so used to the English, it's okay. If you have a dark background, I had not anticipated that it is in Chinese. Here we go. Okay. However, if you have a dark background, let's see if we can we play this? Yes. If you have a dark background with just some words and some text, the focus is more here, or in front of you. There's more focus here. Okay? So that's the principle I want to give you. Emphasize your contrast. Okay? Use a darker background. It doesn't have to be black. Okay? It does not have to be black. It can be dark blue. It can be brown. It can be a gradient, right? Apple uses this all the time. It doesn't mean all of the slides have to be like this. You can have a few slides that have a white background, with images. That's fine. However, are we okay? Go ahead. If not, we'll deal with it. It's okay. If not, I highly recommend a dark background. That is the first thing. Okay, a dark background. Now, the second thing that I would like to focus on is your text should not be too readable. Okay, that is the second thing. 有些人说不可以超过几个字，对不对？不能觉得 PPT 上面不能超过几个字。我觉得那些都是原则。那我觉得硬性去规定没有任何好处。So my suggestion to you all is your audience should not be tempted to read the screen instead of listening to you. Okay, that is the biggest principle. Maybe there are things you have to read, right? There are quotes you have to read. Maybe there is some text that has to be there. It's just a principle. If you are reading with them, that is totally fine. You can't crowd the text, but you have to help them in the reading. Okay? 掌握几件事情。第一个，阅读速度，人的阅读速度一定比用念的快，一定比用念的快。所以如果你的这个上面的字多到他们是用读的，而不聽，你用念的你跟不上的时候 ，you lose your audience. You immediately lose your audience. So the text should be less than they are able to read and break attention. Clear? So at most you should have a few sentences. At most you should have a few sentences. Okay? That is the second big principle. See, that is an accurate amount of text, right? An accurate amount of text. Right. Next, you have to obey. You have to obey what people focus on in life. What are the things our eyes are naturally focused on? 这个是有研究的哈。例如说婴儿啊，他们会注意到什么？他们会注意到的事情是什么？ What do normal kids or normal babies look at? Like objects in their they will focus on 4 kinds of things. 大家有没有学过普通心理学，或者学知觉、生物知觉？有没有学过 ？No， 人会注意什么？新知识是吧？啊，声音跟气味。因为看得到的，注意到的，眼睛的，对的，因为 PowerPoint 不会有声音跟气味，会有声音啦，但没有气味。Not yet， 未来可能 maybe，but not yet. That would be cool. Yes. No idea. 好，大原则4个，第一是大的，如果有大的跟小的会注意大的 ，OK， 这都是相较式，这都是相对的，大的跟小的注意大的，会动跟不会动的注意会动的 ，OK 吗？这是第二个。 亮色系的胜过于暗色系，所以红色、黄色、橘色，会胜过于比较暗的蓝色、绿色、紫色，除非你把它调亮，除非你把它调亮。OK， 然后最后一个呢，最重要的是对比色，所以就是对比上会注意对比上比较强的，所以跟颜色有点类似。我觉得一般的原则是红色、橘色、黄色胜过于 蓝色、绿色、紫色，亮的胜过于暗的，就这样，可以吗？再讲一次，大的胜过小的，会动的胜过不会动的，亮色系胜过暗色系，然后对比色，亮的胜过暗的，就这样4个原则，可以吗 ？That's it。换句话说 ，in your PowerPoint slides, if you have a big heading and then lots of small text， 有没有看过这种大的标题下面一堆字？那大部分的注意力会注意在大的这个标题上，而不是一个，就是姑且不论说他们会读那个字，光注意力上面就会注意那个大的字，而不会注意下面的那个 text， 可以吗？而且人的记忆不好，工作记忆大概30秒到90秒就没有了，30秒到90秒，所以 that's why I don't like slides so much, okay? But that's possible, ,30秒到90秒就没有了。Alright, so big over small. Okay? If you have things that move, that's better. So that's why we have animations on text, right? We have animations. And one of the reasons I like Keynote is because it has more interesting animations. It has some cooler animations. There are some technical problems, however, if you use on that computer. You can focus on brighter colors. Use red, use green, use orange, use yellow. But use the bright version rather than the dark version. Okay? It's very easy. And then in contrast, use opacity over non-opaque colors. Okay, I'll give you some demos. I have some slides to show you in a minute. Using my own computer, I'll give you some suggestions. Okay, so we should take a break, right? 差不多了哈。We'll take a break. 再讲一次，大的原则里面呢，前面讲的，我们5周里面，今天是第4周。今天要谈的是简报的实体，这个简报档怎么做？前面讲的呢是简报的原则，如何制作，如何练习。下周呢会讲如何给回馈，如何给回应，然后如何回应问题。So, let's take a break, and we will come back to talk about the slides.
这个要先打字才正常。
我要先打字，就要。